Gyumri is the second largest city in Armenia and the capital of the Sherek province in the northwestern part of the country. It is around 126 kilometers north of the capital Yerevan. As of the 2011 census, the city had a population of 121,976, down from 150,917 reported at the 2001 census. Its name has been changed several times. It was originally founded as Gyumri, later refounded as Alexandropol between 1837 and 1924 during the Russian rule, then Leninakan between 1924 to 90, then as Gyumri. History. Ancient history. The region of Gyumri is mentioned as Gyumri in the historic Urartian inscriptions dating back to the 8th century BC. The first settlement at the location of modern-day Gyumri is believed to have been founded during the 5th century BC, California, 401 BC, by Greek colonists. An alternative theory suggests that the city was founded by the Sumerians, based on the fact that Sumerians conquered the region in 720 BC and that the original name of the city was Gyumri, which bears phonetic resemblance to the word used by ancient Armenian in reference to Sumerians. Historians believe that Xenophon passed through Gyumri during his return to the Black Sea, a journey immortalized in his Anabasis. During the Middle Ages, Gyumri was known as a large and important settlement. According to the Armenian scholar Gevin the historian, the town was a center of Armenian rebellion led by Artavasd Mamikonian against the Islamic Arab Caliphate between 733 and 755. Being controlled by several Turkic tribes and Persian dynasties, the town had lost its significance during the following centuries, until the beginning of the 19th century. At or just south of Gyumri there was the Shuragal Sultanate. It is mentioned in various places, but there does not seem to be a good account. Confirm the Russian victory in the Russo-Persian War and the outcoming Treaty of Gulistan of 1813. It was ceded to Russia by Qajar Iran. 19th century Gyumri and the surrounding territories became part of the Russian Empire after the Russo-Persian War and the resulting Treaty of Turkmenchay of 1828. The Russians controlled over the town on 12 June 1804, around 25 years earlier than the rest of eastern Armenia. During the period of the Russian rule, Gyumri became one of the developing cities in the Transcaucasus. In 1829, in the aftermath of the Russo-Turkish War, there was a big influx of Armenian population, as around 3,000 families who had migrated from territories in the Ottoman Empire, in particular from the towns of Kars, Erzurum, and Dogubeyazit, settled in and around Gyumri. The Russian poet Alexander Pushkin visited Gyumri during his journey to Erzurum in 1829. In 1837 Russian Tsar Nicholas I arrived in Gyumri and changed the name into Alexandropol. The name was chosen in honor of Tsar Nicholas I's wife Princess Charlotte of Prussia, who had changed her name to Alexander Fyodorovna after converting to Orthodox Christianity. A major Russian fortress was built on the site in 1837. Alexandropol was finally formed as a town in 1840 to become the center of the newly established Alexandropol Uyezd, experiencing rapid growth during its first decade. In 1849, the Alexandropol Uyezd became part of the Yerevan Governorate. The town was an important outpost for the Imperial Russian Armed Forces in the Transcaucasus, where their military barracks were established. Alexandropol became one of the major centers of the Russian troops during the Russo-Turkish War of 1877–78. After the establishment of the railway station in Alexandropol in 1899, the town witnessed a significant growth, becoming the largest city in eastern Armenia. By the end of the 19th century, Alexandropol was home to 430 shopping stores as well as several workshops and cultural institutions. 20th century and beyond. In 1902, the first bank in the city was opened. Until the Sovietization of Armenia in 1920, Alexandropol had 31 manufacturing centers including beer, soap, textile, etc. After the October Revolution of 1917 and the Russian withdrawal from the South Caucasus, the Ottoman forces launched a new offensive, capturing the city of Alexandropol on the 11th of May 1918, during the Caucasus Campaign in World War I. However, the Ottomans withdrew from the city on the 24th of December 1918, as a result of the Armistice of Mudros. On the 10th of May 1920, the local Bolshevik Armenians, aided by the Muslim population, attempted a coup d'état in Alexandropol against the Dashnak government of Armenia. The uprising was suppressed by the Armenian government on May 14 and its leaders were executed. However, during the Turkish-Armenian War, Turkey attacked Alexandropol and occupied the city on the 7th of November 1920. As a result of the Battle of Alexandropol. After the battle, the Turkish forces were headquartered in Alexandropol. Turks presented the Republic of Armenia with an ultimatum that Armenians were forced to accept. Otherwise Turkey would have invaded the capital Yerevan from their headquarters in Alexandropol. Armenia was forced to sign the Treaty of Alexandropol to stop the Turkish advance towards Yerevan, to put an end to the Turkish-Armenian War. However, the Turkish forces withdrew from Alexandropol after the Treaty of Kars in October 1921. Being under the Soviet rule, the name of the city was changed in 1924 to Leninakan after the deceased Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin. The city suffered an earthquake in 1926, when many of its significant buildings were destroyed, including the Greek Church of St. George. Leninakan became a major industrial center in the Armenian Soviet Socialist Republic and its second largest city, after the capital Yerevan. The city suffered major damage during the 1988 Spitak earthquake, which devastated many parts of the country. The earthquake occurred along a known thrust fault with a length of 60 kilometers. Its strike was parallel to the Caucasus Range and dipped to the north-northeast. Bruce Bolt, a seismologist and a professor of Earth and planetary science at the University of California, Berkeley, walked the fault scarp in 1992 and found that the vertical displacement measured 1 meter along most of the length, with the southwest end reaching 1.6 meters. The earthquake had a disastrous impact on the city, as many buildings are still not recovered. According to Armenian government sources, around 3,500 residents of Gyumri remain homeless. At the time of the breakup of the Soviet Union, the city was renamed Gyumri between in 1990 until 1992, when it was finally given the name Gyumri. The Russian 102nd military base is located in the city. Gyumri was celebrated as the capital of culture of the Commonwealth of Independent States for 2013. Major events took place in the city on the 30th of June 2013. On the 12th of January 2015, Valery Permyakov, a serviceman from the Russian 102nd military base, murdered 7 members of an Armenian family in Gyumri. Geography and climate. Gyumri is 126 kilometers north of the capital Yerevan at the central part of the Sherek Plateau. It has an approximate height of 1550 meters above sea level. The Akurian River passes through the western suburbs. The Sherek Plateau is surrounded with the Pumbik Mountains from the east and Aragats volcanic range from the south. The city of Gyumri is 196 kilometers away from the Black Sea. The surrounding lands of the city are rich with tough basalt and clay. Gyumri has a semi-arid continental climate, characterized with cold and snowy winter where the minimum temperature could fall down to -41 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, summer in Gyumri is relatively hot, with temperatures could reach up to 36 degrees Celsius. The annual precipitation averages 500 millimeters. Main sites. As an old town, Gyumri has a rich history and a unique style of architecture. Unfortunately, the city lost many of its historical and cultural buildings after the disastrous earthquake in December 1988. Throughout the centuries, Gyumri was labeled as the city of trades and arts, famous for its schools, theaters, and gazans. In 1912, Gyumri was home to the first opera show ever staged in Armenia. It is also home to the first Armenian opera theatre opened in 1923. Gyumri Historic District with more than 1,000 buildings dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries. The historic district of Gyumri represents the old part of Gyumri. The district is one of few places in the Republic of Armenia, and the world, with authentic urban Armenian architecture. Almost all the structures of the Gyumri district have survived two major earthquakes, in 1926 and 1988. The historic district of Gyumri occupies the central part of modern-day Gyumri. The archaeological excavations during the 20th century have shown that the area has been populated since at least the 3rd millennium BC. Many graveyards and dwellings have been found. The first recorded mention of Gyumri is from 773 and describes the revolt against Arab domination led by Prince Artavasd Mamikonian that resulted in the revival of Armenian statehood 1 century later, during the reign of the Bagratuna kings of Armenia in the 10th century. Gyumri has developed into a well-built modern town to become a center of trade for the entire region. Sevberd Fortress. Sevberd, or the Black Fortress, is an abandoned Russian imperial fortress in Gyumri built between 1834 and 1847, located 8 kilometers east of the Turkish border. It was erected in response to the Russo-Turkish War of 1828 to 1829. It is a National Cultural Heritage Monument in Armenia. Churches Marmashan Monastery of the 10th century. Located 6 kilometers northwest of Gyumri. Church of the Holy Saviour or Serpaminabkich, constructed between 1859 to 1873, designed to resemble the Cathedral of Varni. The church was heavily damaged by the 1988 Spitik earthquake and is currently under reconstruction. Cathedral of the Holy Mother of God, also known as Seven Wounds of the Holy Mother of God, constructed between 1873 to 1884. Currently, it is the seat of the Diocese of Sherek of the Armenian Apostolic Church. Serpenchan or Holy Sign Church, built in 1870. St. Nikolai the One-Worker Russian Orthodox Church, also known as PL Planjam, built in 1879 to 1880. St. Arsenij Russian Church of 1910, commonly known as the Church of Kazaki Post. St. Gregory the Illuminator's Church of Gyumri. St. Jacob of Nisibur's Church, or Serpakob Mt's Binatsai Church, built in 2005. Cathedral of the Holy Cross of the Catholic Armenians. Other sites: Aslamazian Sisters House Museum, built in the 1880s, home to more than 700 drawings, paintings and other works of the Soviet-era artists. Aslamazian Sisters. Jatotsian Museum of Social Life and National Architecture of Gyumri, an old mansion, housing collections related to both history and the everyday life of Gyumri, as well as paintings and other works of art. Sergei Merkurov House Museum. House Museum of Avatak Isa Hukyan. House Museum of Hovhannes Shiraz. House Museum of Mhermkarchian. The monumental statue of Mother Armenia erected in 1975. Vartanants Square, the central town square of Gyumri. Independence Square. Charles Aznavour Square. Gorijan NZHDEH Square. Gyumri Railway Station Square. Gyumri Central Park, founded during the 1920s on the site of the Old Town Cemetery. The restoration process of the damaged buildings of Gyumri has been spearheaded by Earthwatch to preserve the city's unique architecture. Economy. During the pre-Soviet era, Alexandropol was considered the third largest trade and cultural center in Transcaucasia after Tiflis and Baku. At the end of the 19th century, the population of Alexandropol has grown up to 32,100 inhabitants, with the majority of Armenians. The economy of Gyumri is mostly dependent on construction sector, tourism and banking services. Industry has a big share in the domestic product as well. The most important industrial activities are the production of building materials, hosiery and textile manufacturing, and food industries. Gyumri is home to the beer manufacturers Gyumri Brewery, owned by the Sovrano Company. The factory produces lager beer under the brands Gyumri and Ararat. The other beer producer in Gyumri is Alexandropol Brewery. Transport. Air transportation. Gyumri is served by the International Sherek Airport, about 5 kilometers to the southeast of the city center. It was inaugurated in 1961 and is the second largest airport in Armenia. It has scheduled flights to Moscow and St. Petersburg. At the beginning of 2006, the government of Armenia felt the importance of having a second international airport, when adverse weather conditions meant that many flights had to be diverted from Yerevan's Zvartnots International Airport into Gyumri's Sherek Airport. New air traffic control equipment allowed airport workers to identify planes in a 400 km radius. Railway. The railway junction of Gyumri is the oldest and the largest one in Armenia. It was formed in 1897 and the first railway link to Alexandropol that connected the city with Tiflis was completed in 1899. The rail line was then extended from Alexandropol to Yerevan, Kars, Julfa, and Tabriz. As a result, Alexandropol became an important rail hub. As of 2015, the Gyumri railway station operates regular trips to Yerevan, Tbilisi and Batumi. The South Caucasus Railway (CJSC) is the current operator of the railway sector in Armenia. Education and religion. Gyumri has a large number of educational institutions. It is considered the main cultural and educational center of northern Armenia. The city has the following higher educational centers. Gyumri State Pedagogical Institute, named after Mikhail Nalbandian. Progress University. Imasteza Anania Sharakatsi University. Gyumri Campus of National Polytechnic University of Armenia. Gyumri Campus of Armenian State University of Economics. Gyumri Campus of Yerevan Komitas State Conservatory. Gyumri Campus of Yerevan State Academy of Fine Arts. Gyumri Campus of Yerevan State Institute of Theatre and Cinematography. Gyumri Campus of European Regional Educational Academy. Gyumri Campus of Habasark University of Yerevan. The city is home to 47 public education schools, 23 nursery schools and 7 special schools for music regularly operating in the city. The majority of the population in Gyumri belongs to the Armenian Apostolic Church. The Cathedral of the Holy Mother of God in Gyumri is the seat of the Diocese of Sherek of the Armenian Church. The Armenian Catholic Church has a tiny community in Armenia headed by the Eparchy of Armenia and Eastern Europe, based in Gyumri. There are around 16,000 Armenian Catholics in the Sherek province. The seat of the Eparchy is the Serpkak Cathedral in Gyumri. The presence of the small Russian Orthodox community along with the Russian military base personnel is marked with the Church of St. Nikolai the Wonderworker and the Church of St. Arsenij. Sport. Gyumri has a major contribution in the sports life of Armenia. Many Olympic and world champion wrestlers, weightlifters and boxers are from Gyumri. The city is notable for its worldwide champions in individual sports, such as Robert Emiryan in long jump, Yurik Vardanyan and Nazikov Dalian in weightlifting and Ara Abrahamyan in Greco-Roman wrestling. The city is home to the Armenian football club FC Sherek. They play their home games at the Gyumri City Stadium, the oldest football stadium in Armenia, dating to 1924. Sherek are one of the most popular football teams in Armenia, having won the championship of the Armenian Premier League 4 times, with the most recent one in the 2012-13 season. Sherek have also won the Armenian Independence Cup once. The native of Gyumri and former Sherek player Artur Petrosyan is the all-time leading scorer for the Armenia national football team. Aragats FC was the second football club that represented the city. However, the club was dissolved in 2002 due to financial difficulties. The Gyumri Football Academy of the Football Federation of Armenia was opened on 13 September 2014. It is home to 4 natural grass and 2 artificial turf regular-sized football training pitches. Many special sports schools are serving the young generation of Gyumri, such as the School of Gymnastics, the School of Athletics named after Robert Emiryan, the School of Football named after Levonish Toydan, and other special schools of boxing, weightlifting, wrestling, martial arts and chess. Gyumri is a hometown to many former and current world, Olympic and European champions in several types of sports, including Yuri Vardanyan, the 7-times world and the 1980 Olympic weightlifting champion in the -82.5 kg category. Robert Emiryan, the 1986 European champion in long jump. Levon Falakian, the 1986 world and 1988 Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling champion. Nutsakan Iskandaryan, the 1990 and 1991 world and 1992 Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling champion. Israel Militosyan, the 1989 world and 1992 Olympic weightlifting champion in the men's -67.5 kg category. Matar Manukian, the 1998 and 1999 World Greco-Roman Wrestling Champion. Malin Dalazyan, the 2007 and 2008 European Weightlifting Champion in the women's -63 kg category. Tigran Vardan Martirosyan, the 2008 European Weightlifting Champion in the -85 kg category. Nazik Avdalian, the 2008 European and 2009 World Weightlifting Champion in the women's -69 kg category. Arsanjul Falakian, the 2009 European and 2014 World Greco-Roman Wrestling Champion. Tigran Gevorg Martirosyan, the 2010 World Weightlifting Champion in the men's -77 kg category. Artur Alexanyan, the 2012 and 2013 European and 2014 World Greco-Roman Wrestling Champion. Demographics. The population of Gyumri has gradually grown since 1840 after gaining the status of town. A huge decline of the population was due to the disastrous earthquake of 1988. The residents here have a distinct look and style, and a boundless pride in their city. Their own dialect is very close to Western Armenian. Population and ethnic groups chart of Gyumri throughout history. Karat are called Tatars prior to 1918 culture. Gyumri is known as the City of Crafts and Arts. The first opera performance in Armenia took place in Alexandropol in 1912. In 1865, an amateur theatre group in Gyumri performed H. Karanyan's Shushnik. Vardan Ajemian State Drama Theatre was founded in 1928 in Gyumri. Prominent directors Ruben Simonov and Vardan Ajemian, actors Mherm Kharchian, Azith Sherents and Varduhi Vardarisian worked in theatre. The theatre's new building was opened in 1972. The artistic director is Nikolai Sashrian. Gyumri is known for its 19th-century architecture and urban constructions. The first printing house of Gyumri was founded in 1876 by G. Sonoyan and operated until 1918. It published literary works, calendars, textbooks. Another printing house, AYG, published historical books and the first periodical of Gyumri, Akoyan. Gyumri is home to the Gyumri Biennial, organized by the artist Azafzargzian and the Gyumri Center of Contemporary Art. Gyumri was officially declared Commonwealth of Independent States Cultural Capital in 2013. Famous natives.